Hi there, Vicky here. So today we're making quite a few little things, little appetizers for this evening. And the first thing that we're making is a spicy crab tapas. Then we'll be making, as the second item, these little apple pie puff pastry cheesecake cups. Don't we'll wordsmith the name on that one. And then after that, we're going to make some Parmesan bacon garlic knots, and then these little watermelon refresher cups. I don't know. We're working it. So let's get to it.
All right. First things first, I needed to wash that watermelon. And with any fruit that I'm really cutting through into the flesh like this, I try to wash the exterior, even though we're not eating it, because I don't want the germs from the outside going into the inside. So then I proceeded to peel this watermelon. It's a little mini seedless watermelon. Watermelons are not really in season in February. So, why I decided to make this recipe, I don't know. I saw it at the grocery store and I was like, oh wow, we haven't had watermelon in a while. This is fun. But I do think the recipe would lend itself better if the watermelon were sweeter than this one was. So, anywho, then I cut it into 2 inch or so rounds, and I needed them to be square. So I proceeded to cut out little cubes for it, and I did put all the little odds and ends and pieces that did not fit the cube over in that bowl off to the side there. I'm trying to make them really as even as I could, but there was definitely some variation in size. I'm not a perfect person, and that's okay. It didn't need to be perfect, perfect. So, got all of those cut, and then the next thing I needed to do was hollow out my little watermelon cubes. And I had great difficulty with this. So ultimately, I settled on the back end of a baby spoon in order to get this little circle hollowed out of these things. I will not be making this again. That was just way too fiddly for our final product. Yeah, let's just call it like that. It was just a little too fiddly, but it did look gorgeous. So if you're trying to like really impress some folks, I think this does have that impressive look to it, but it just wasn't what I needed at this moment. Now, a couple things about the recipe upcoming. So, it did call for red onion, finely diced. I did not have red onion, I had yellow onion. And instead of finely dicing it, I decided that I would shred it on a microplane, and I do think that was a mistake. So, do not do that. Use the red onion as per the recipe. I'll link the recipe down in the description. The other flavors that were in this, though, like the cucumber and the mint, were delicious. I do wish it had a more minty flavor. This is mint out of my little herb pot. So, hey, free herbs. I purchased a mint plant at the grocery store several months ago, and yeah, it's just been providing me with mint ever since. I would say that if I make this again ever, I would want to double or triple the amount of mint that was here. The recipe didn't call for very much, and so I didn't put very much, but I really wish that mint flavor had been more prominent. The other herb there is cilantro, so it's just equal portions. Although, if I made this again, I think I'd probably keep the cilantro the same and just increase the mint for me. Then, dicing finely about a third of this English cucumber. I chose the long one because it has less seeds in the middle and more of the cucumber flesh. I didn't want to deal with like seeding the middle of a cucumber. And this really doesn't have that issue. If you did have a regular cucumber, you would definitely want to take the seeds out in order to do the dice for the little watermelon cups. So next, I'm just finally chopping up my herbs, and then I add those to the cucumber mix as well. Now, we've talked about a few ways that I have made errors so far. This onion was certainly one of them, but another thing is I added a little salt to the cucumbers. Wish I hadn't done that. It caused them and the watermelon over time to release too much moisture. Instead, Vicky of the future, what I would do is I would add some feta cheese to this, which would add that little saltiness without, I think, drawing the moisture out of the watermelon or the cucumber. That last ingredient was lemon juice. So that's what went in. I tasted it. I did not like it. However, didn't know really how to fix it, and I thought maybe someone else would like it. So I went ahead and filled up my cups. I do want to note I did not eat off of this fork. I used the fork to fill my watermelon cup, and I ate that. Okay, just like clarity. So filled up my little watermelon cups with my filling. I had way more watermelon cups than I had little filling for, which was fine. What I ended up doing was putting it in a blender. I know you can't see this, but I put it in a blender off to the side. And as a bonus recipe, I am going to make a little watermelon drink. Taking all my vegetable scraps, of course, and putting them in the freezer to make stock with later, and just trying to kind of get the kitchen cleaned up a little bit. I thought that adding a drizzle of honey on the top might help since the watermelon itself wasn't very sweet. I don't know. It did help. So I think having an in season watermelon would be great. And that's what it looked like. Now, off to our watermelon drink. So I put the watermelon, I put extra mint and lemon juice in this, so similar ingredients to the watermelon cups. And then I just blended the crap out of this. So nothing added to it at the moment, just really watermelon and mint and the lemon juice in here. And of course, watermelon is so liquidy, it creates all this moisture all on its own. And I blended it on the highest power that my blender goes for quite some time, wanting to make sure that the pulp was really getting combined. Then I added ice to this. So I added quite a bit of ice, and then I went ahead and blended it some more. And this made it kind of frosty, not as frosty as like a slushy, but it certainly helped chill it since the watermelon was at room temperature. And it held its consistency really well over time. Although this drink went fast. It was probably the first thing to go. I didn't even get like a full, table spread picture of it before this was mostly gone. But after it finished blending, I just went ahead and added it to a big pitcher so that we could all enjoy it. And yeah, this drink was a winner. It was really good. It didn't need any sugar or anything. And that's what it looked like. If you make it, tell me what you think.